8 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning to all those on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us on this, the 27th day of September. You know what day it is? It is World Tourism Day. It is indeed. All right. So good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll cast in this morning. We just heard from Paul Richards with our news brief. Wendell Stephen will join us. Richard Raghubar Singh will join us. Ruben is campering to make his way into the office as we speak. Yep. Yeah. I hope he at least comb his hair and brush his teeth, at least. But yes, full casting this morning. My name is Steve Khan. Let's get straight into the WTs. Taking a look at the Churchill Roosevelt Highway approaching Tumpuna Road. You've got some traffic. O'Meara Road as well. And then Melody to Piaco, you've got it. By Arima Old Road, you're going to pick up some traffic there this morning. But after Yui, it's pretty much smooth sailing until you get to a swim call. A little volume as you pass through Val St. Aranguez at El Sicor Mocha, Maraval, Dago. That's beginning to build. Let's head on south and make our way up north, shall we? See what's happening there for those on, I tell you, Uriah, about the highway. One little accident and creates such a backlog. You got traffic this morning from Chase Village, just after Freeport, towards Sugar Gordas, and then Charlieville, straight into the interchange. Going through Endeavor by Chin Chin Road, a bit busy as well. All right. Hope that helped you out in one way or the other. Let's take a quick look what's happening weather-wise. I tell you, driving in this morning, I was here very early, by the way. It is 24 degrees at Piarco International Airport. It's telling me it's got a little rain too. 28 at Crown Point in Tobago. And let's hope the Met Office, I didn't check. I should have, but I didn't. Let's check to see what the Met Office says our weather is going to be like for today. Let's see. Did they update it? They did. Hot, sunny conditions, interrupted at times by some light to moderate showers, especially near southern and western coastal areas. There is a low chance, medium 30 to 60%. Some of these showers will become heavy and or thundery during the afternoon. This evening will be mostly clear. All right, that's your WTs. Let's use send us hellos first thing this morning via YouTube as we stream on YouTube. Whoa, a lot of messages. Let's go. Oliver Man Warren, good morning. Trinity in Boston. DJ Ray out in cold Delaware. Rita Boodoo Jennings says another hot day. She waves a pink hand. Okay. DP, good morning. Miss Ingrid out in Tucson, Arizona. Good morning. I have a good friend as in Tucson right now. Pauline Buckmeyer, good morning. Ray out in West Palm Beach, Florida. Ingrid Adams, Winston Jones, Carl M. Jack, Leah Joseph, good morning to you as well. All right, so let me bring the guys in. Good morning, gentlemen. What's happening?
Morning, Steve. Good morning, Wendell.
Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Richard. And good morning, Trinidad and Tobago and all our foreign listeners all over the globe.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful Wednesday morning in Arima, certainly. I'm hoping it's the same in other parts of the globe, but it's good to be in the land of the living. Condolences to those who would have lost loved ones. And I forgot to express condolences to the Alfred family. Now, Dr. Susan Alfred passed away in Accra, Ghana last week. She was the person instrumental in forming, of course, the Ghana Caribbean Chamber of Commerce, and of course, the person who introduced us, the city of Port of Spain, to Ghana, where we were eventually twinned with Kumasi last year. She was a medical doctor and it's Trinidadian, but based in Ghana. And she really was a dear soul. So she was ailing for a bit and then she passed away last week. So condolences to the Alfred family. I think they're in Mayaro region. And for all the people who would have been associated with us on that Ghana Caribbean Chamber of Commerce. Condolences. And of course, to the young ones who would have well, clearly heaven needed angels, because for the 3 children who would have died in those such tragic circumstances in the last couple weeks.
Well, not 3. It would be
Yeah.
6.
Well, I was counting the youngest of the children. That's the 10-year-old in the kitchen, the 7-year-old, I think, in the drowning, and the 3-year-old with the burning, with the pot of boiling water. It's such tragic circumstances that, you know, I grieve for those parents, because, you know, parents are so very particular with children. Unless parents are mentally or I think sexually deranged, parents go out of the way to take care of children, in my opinion. I don't know of any parent who deliberately wants their child to suffer the fate that those children would have. You understand? It happened, and you know, we just have to be so much more careful with children. It's just 3 very, very sad stories, especially the last one with that child with that pot of boiling water. You know, it's inexplicable, really. When you think about it, it's just something you can't explain.
Or something you can't explain? Okay.
Well, how do you explain something like that? How do you explain something where someone is telling you there's an accident, you know, and that child fell into that pot, and then you saw that video of that child at the end where it looked like the child was all right, you know, and then to hear some hours later that the child died, it's just heartbreaking. That's all I can say. It's heartbreaking.
I know that child could be all right after sustaining burns 25% of her body. I don't know that how a 3-year-old steps or falls into a pot of boiling peas or water, depending on which report you listen to. I don't know how that happens.
Well, I don't know either, Paul.
Okay?
That's what I'm saying, you know. I don't know how those things happen.
Until people are held legally responsible for these issues, it wouldn't stop.
Well, you know, I can
only... and I know people will say the parents grieving, it was an accident and all of that. But that inflamed me like you have no idea.
Well,
okay.
I couldn't afford to get angry simply because I have seen accidents with children before. Accidents that just suddenly happen. I've seen it. I've experienced it. My son, one of my sons, my first children would have gone by their grandparents a lot to spend time. And he would have gotten a broken arm as a baby, you understand? Because of his hand sticking between the bed. You know, so these things happen. I know it happens.
Well, that is a totally different circumstance to a child falling or however the child end up in a pot of boiling peas or water.
Well, it's not so much different, you know, Paul. Guess what? Here why I'm saying that. Listen to me good. It is there are unguarded moments where parents and or guardians, and in my case, a grandmother, would have just turned an eye for a split second. That's why I'm saying I don't know.
In a bedroom, right? And that was a bedroom, right?
Yeah, but I don't know.
Would you agree that in a reasonable thought process, a kitchen is a much more dangerous place than a bedroom?
Well, in this case, it wasn't even a kitchen, Paul. It was a vending. I think they were vending.
Or a vending stall where a fire is lit and water is being, or peas is being on a fire. Yes. Would you agree that's extremely more dangerous than a kitchen, than a bedroom?
So, Paul, I'm not discounting the negligence of the parents, you know. I'm not discounting that, you know. I'm just saying...
Everybody gets amnesia.
No, but I'm just saying I don't know any parent who would deliberately allow a situation like that.
I am not saying it's deliberate. I am saying I feel it's negligence.
Oh, it has to be. At the end of the day, it will be negligence.
Right. And I don't know how they explain it. A child, a 3-year-old, around a boiling pot. A boiling pot.
Yeah.
Clearly, the pot must have been on the ground in one of those cookers, not so? This is the presumption I'm getting, because I don't believe the child was on a counter And if the child wasn't accounted, the child had no right on a counter unsupervised by a boiling pot.
Yeah.
So you have a boiling pot of peas or water, depending on which report you listen to, and the child steps into it. So you make it make sense.
Yeah. As I say, I'm hearing all of
Make
that,
it make sense.
but I want to. I had to console myself, Paul, by going past that, because when I hear the story of the
I am not
drowning,
going past it at all.
when I hear the story of the drowning, also, I'm saying a child in an adult pool.
Same thing. Same thing.
Adults
And
around.
when you're walking there and seeing the signs, no lifeguard.
Yeah.
Grandmother, mother, cousin, whoever.
Yeah.
A large expanse of water. You walked in and more than likely paid to go in there, seeing signs of no lifeguard, which I also have an issue with it. Because if you run in a water park, you're supposed to have a lifeguard.
You would figure.
There's no sign in front of me. You taking my money, having children there and adults, and you have no lifeguard.
Yeah.
That's the other thing I'm mad about, because as if that absolves you of responsibility because you put up a sign that says no lifeguard.
Yeah.
Now there are other water parks around there. There's Shagaramas. There's down Tabakeet as well.
Yeah. But I just, as I say, I put myself in these parents' shoes, right? I remember my son, and I would have told you all this story already. We would be in church, and he would want to go in the bathroom, and his mom would say, "All right, go ahead." And I would say, "Where are you going?" He going to use the bathroom. I get him, and I go with him. You know,
which is the responsible thing to do.
Yeah, because I didn't take any chance. When we put in a pool, he was 2 years old, and we traveled and we bought the full body suits for him to wear, so that even if accidentally he fell in that pool, he couldn't go underwater.
With the floaters.
We bought an alarm for the pool. I don't know of any other pool with an alarm in it. I have an alarm in my pool that if anything,
people walk around as if children are just small adults. Children are not small adults.
Yeah.
They are children. They are absent of a sense of danger completely.
Yeah.
They are curious and inquisitive by nature.
Yep, they are.
They will be drawn to something that is extremely dangerous because of their inquisitive nature. That's how they learn.
Yeah.
They would see a pot of water on fire and go and touch the fire because the fire is intriguing to them.
Yes.
Unaware that it can damage them.
All those things are true. Children are.
I want to know how you have a vending stall cooking a pot of peas clearly on or water on a boil. This thing, I'm presuming it's on the ground, right? And not hyper careful, because you know a child is in the vicinity, a 3-year-old, and not a 10-year-old who may have a little more sense, or a 7-year-old. This is a toddler, right?
Paul, I don't know if you've been around many vending stalls, but a lot of vendors have their children there, you know.
And having your children in the vending stall and having an open fire and an open pot means you are responsible for that child.
I don't think you'll get anybody arguing with you with that, but I'm just saying in the terms of an accident happening, there is a likelihood that it will eventually happen. Because people would have been doing this thing for a long time and nothing happened.
They are careless.
Well,
because they are careless. Because if you turn your back and once you know you have a pot on the ground or in reach of a child, you need to have that child upon you or out of that particular room.
Yeah.
That is carelessness. And negligence. I don't care what nobody said. I'm not softening it at all.
No, I don't want you to soften it because I'm doing the softening. I'm doing the softening because I have children. So I understand sometimes how things happen. You understand? So I have the responsibility of doing the softening because, as I said, unless a parent has mental issues or some of those sickos who interfere with children, you understand? Because I don't want no excuse from them. I don't want no excuse from anybody who interferes sexually with a child.
Okay.
There's
So,
nothing you
all
can
right,
tell me.
we have 2 dead
Mm.
and counting. Let me keep softening it.
Well, as I said,
As I accident and I slip away and I turn away for 2 seconds and they just turn the head for 30 seconds and the child. Let me keep softening it.
well, again, as I said, I'm doing that for the parents who, in some instances, have no choice. I had a choice, and I was overprotective always. I used to go by the sea, Paul. I never liked the sea, but I used to go by the sea with my relatives just so that I could sit down on the beach and keep my eye on them. I can't swim out there to help them, but I know that was my work. I keeping my eye on them. You understand? I would have children by the pool, and I would not go in that water. I would sit down to watch. That's how I am, and I still like that with my elder children, my children elder, all of them over the age of 18, and I'm still like that. So I'm just saying, but there are parents who not like that, and who won't ever be like that. So I'm just saying, I console myself with having needed 3 angels. So he took out a child by a gunshot. He bring a child via drowning, and he bring a child via an inexplicable circumstance, because nobody knows how that child died now. Right? An autopsy has to be done to determine how that child eventually passed away.
The 3-year-old?
Yes, the one with the burns.
The 3-year-old died because it sustained burns on 20% of its body. The child's body went into arrest because the severe burns puts your body in stress, and it's a tiny human being.
Well, we don't know that yet.
Well, the autopsy will be conducted today. So.
Yeah, we don't know that yet. We don't know if the child had some other circumstance that may have caused her to go into arrest and die. You don't know. Because there was a video.
Apart from being burnt on 25% of his body?
All right. I'm saying there is, I don't know, did you see the video after the fact when she was in the hospital bed?
So because she was in the hospital bed and seemed to be stable, is something else?
Paul, oh God, not today, huh? Let you go back. Oh, you want to go back to, hey, Richard, morning. How are you?
I am good. Good morning, guys. Good morning to our listeners, wherever you are.
Richard, I've been watching mixed up.
Every time I watch by being allowed to walk into a pot of boiling peas, something else happened in the hospital.
Richard, I've been watching mixed up. I've been for the last 2 days, and every time I see that, the 2 episodes, I see Richard stamped and printed all over that thing. Because I know you so long, and I know so much about you. I see Richard. So the only problem I have is Friday for that last episode. I might have, Fridays on me, right? So you had to find a way.
Friday, right.
I had to find a way to tape the last episode, because I would imagine that last episode will be all over that last episode.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing. I'm recording it, so when I'm watching, I'm just watching it all at the same time.
Yeah. But you put horn in it early, boy.
Yeah, you always have to have I don't want to say a cliffhanger, but it's life, Wendell. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's life.
Oh yes, I've seen it. I've seen so many aspects of my life already in that 2 episodes.
Oh, geez, on ages.
It's life.
Yeah, I didn't watch it last night. I put it to record. So when I'm watching it, it's just back to back to back.
I have no intention of missing it, but as I say, Friday might be my only challenge.
Yeah. Let's say good morning going out to a few people. Leah Joseph Schoenker, good morning. Carol Guevara, Wagwan. Vaughn Drayton, Ambrose Block, good morning. Yes, all right. So let me explain to you all what's happening. So I'm getting a lot of messages regarding our app and website playing music. Yes, I broke the computer this morning. They'll only get us on YouTube All right. No, to be honest, the power supply in the computer went. Um,
Oh, I was wondering what happened myself
yeah,
because
the
I
power
was
supply.
trying.
When I checked
Yeah.
this morning, I noticed the computer is off, and I'm going, why is that off? So try to put it on, couldn't put it on, move the mouse, check the monitor. Okay, usual suspects, nothing's wrong there. And so speaking with Ruben this morning, we realized that the power supply for that computer is gone. So it would not carry our regular stream, which we are doing right now. It will now take control and play calypso music. Another computer takes over. I just played
Right.
the solar computers.
But
So
I was trying to
right.
listen on
So
the
if
tune
you're so
and got that.
the only way you can listen to us is via YouTube. Until Ruben, he's making his way. I really hope he brushes his teeth, combs his hair at least, into the office to change that. I think we have some power supplies around. Computers, right? 1 minute it's good, and next poof.
Yeah, I know about
But
those power supply issues. Trust
Yeah.
me.
All right.
because
So,
when I was hearing the music, I was saying, "Oh, Steve can really this morning."
and I was
But
I was here 5:30 this morning.
you
I
know,
wanted to rock
but
up that thing.
for my interpretation of hearing the
Yeah.
music was Steve can really because I know you're moving. I know you're
Yeah,
moving.
boy.
But
Oh my
I
gosh,
said, "Oh, he real tired. The alarm. He didn't
I'm
even hear the
exhausted.
alarm."
I'm exhausted.
That's
No,
fine.
it's a good thing I have two.
That was
Because
my
I missed the first
explanation.
one, and then the phone is the loud, noisy one, so I had to wake up. But boy, I hit that. I think I fell asleep before my head hit the pillow, and that was like 9 o'clock last night. That's why I didn't watch the show. I was just so tired. But yeah,
So
we are.
Paul had done the news before that music was playing?
We did everything. Yes. So what
Oh.
happened was that because we come on YouTube right after a 6 o'clock news brief, so no one would have heard that.
Oh, so the news is not on YouTube in the morning?
No. We
Nobody
come on-
hears Paul or sees
No.
Paul first thing in the morning?
No, just
That
me.
must be a relief for a lot of people.
Yeah, but not
I
for
didn't
me.
know that.
Yeah, not for me.
I always thought we heard and saw Paul first thing in the
No,
morning.
no. You see, right now he's like right now Paul is like a brick house. If you all see what I'm looking at, that brick, he's full of bricks. He's probably a carpenter, mason.
Yeah. Paul is just reasonably angry. I was angry too, you know. But again, as I
I
said,
really can't be grinning this morning. It's very
Yeah.
difficult.
No,
to
but gentlemen, I
to
listen to you all.
and jokey and funny when this nonsense happening in the country.
Yeah, but
It's
another
really-
news story last night because I didn't watch news. I just listened to it, and I heard that the 4 kids that were killed in Guanapo, the parents went to identify the bodies apparently, and the mother couldn't handle that, so she stayed in the car. And the father went, and he came back and he said that the children were unrecognizable, which I sent out a message to someone to find out for me. And the father had said that it seems that the bodies of these 4 children were not refrigerated
oh boy.
and had begun to decay and was totally swollen, and he could not recognize them as they were. Is this at forensics? We've heard problems at forensics. What was the pathologist's name again that we used to have all the time?
Dr. Alexandrov.
Yes. And he had complained about that donkey years ago. Is that still happening?
We haven't heard that for a while. That issue for a while.
I don't know. It's come to light now from what the father is saying. It's just, as I say, it's another sad period that we go through with children in Trinidad and Tobago, and it's just, it's really I really
heartbreaking.
hope that is not the case that's happening right now.
Well,
I really hope not. So
let me see if I find. Let me see if I.
Brian Marcel, Ronald Ronald, good morning. Terrence Brown, Brenda Isaac, Rena Bodo Jennings, good morning. Yeah.
Right. My birthday is today.
Marcus Clyde, good morning.
Today is my cousin's birthday, Miles Walcott. No, what's craziness is this? This is not true. Miles is not today. Miles is August 26th. Why is it saying September? That's not his birthday. Gavin Frank, happy birthday, Gavin. I know Gavin. Lawrence Jitan Singh, happy birthday. Suzanne Kanai, Randy Surjlal, I think he listens to us. Olivia Laplatte from La Saiva in Marval. And guess whose birthday is today, guys? Carla Gonzalez. Today is Carla's birthday.
Oh, okay.
Just had her very successful show. Today is her birthday. Happy birthday, Carla, darling.
Yeah, happy birthday, Carla.
And today is Diane's Maharaj's birthday. Rich, you may know that. You know that name. You never dropped off the CD for the young lady. After so many years, she's still waiting on it.
I
The
remember
Palm
that,
CD.
I remember that incident very vaguely.
Sure you do.
I remember that instance very well. I remember the Palm CD. Anyway.
Very vaguely.
I also wanted to, because I couldn't join you guys yesterday. I heard your call though, but I wasn't in a position to come on here yesterday because I had something very early in the morning to do. But I heard your invitation to join the cricket conversation.
And you decided not to join and decided to come a whole day after to talk about cricket. We're not talking
I
cricket.
could not. Didn't you hear me, son? I said I could not. I was not in a position to join. I didn't decide not to join. I don't hesitate to join if I have to or if I could call in, but I couldn't.
You were not in a position to join.
That's what I said.
Not saying anything else.
Yeah.
The great good morning, Jaron Joseph, Brian Marcel, Marcus Guide. Good morning to you all. Yes, you have to watch us you have to join us on YouTube this morning. So.
Yeah. But that match in any sporting atmosphere, a match like that they probably would have launched some sort of investigation. Because in horse racing, in football, in cricket, we have had, in tennis, you name it, we have had strange circumstances where people inexplicably lose or play at such a low level that you would probably be suspicious of something. And in a case like that match, trust me, I'm not saying it was deliberate, but I would have launched an investigation into a match like that. That's all I would say. Because there is no reason as I invited people to look back at just prior to people getting out and when they got out. It didn't make any sense. It didn't make cricketing sense at no level, especially in a final. It made no cricketing sense. And that's all I'll say. I don't know if they threw the match, you understand? But I would have certainly launched an investigation into a cricket match like that. That's what I would have done.
It was odd because a chap came into the Pet Butler yesterday while we were doing stuff. And he's adamant that they threw the game. He's not listened to any other thing. Eh? He said they threw the game. He said that was not the team that played the Wednesday or before. That was just a give up hope. He spoke about the body language of Pollard and the players. And their body language said a lot on that game. Their body language
Look at it, especially when they were dismissed. The only person who was disappointed when he was dismissed was Casey Carty. You know, nobody else looked disappointed to me. You know, I watch these things. You know, and well, again, as I said, good luck to all of them. Yes, I'm a cricket fanatic, and I'll continue to go and watch and support cricket regardless. Yeah. You know,
I mean, the game. I think the game they played against Guyana when we played the first 11 overs of spin. And I thought that Pollard did great captaincy in feeling out the batsmen and the field and how to get them. And then to go from that to what we watched on Sunday,
Yeah. I've seen strange things in sports before. And again, as I say, that issue of match fixing is making the wrongs again. I don't know if Brian Lewis had an article on it recently also too. And did an interview on it, you know. So it's not remote in any sport anywhere. You understand? It's
Yeah.
not removed. And as I said, people have been known to do it to a science. In other words, they make bets on which ball they will out and how they're going to out. That's how far it reaches. That's how far it has reached in sport.
Yeah.
The bet is not on the result of the match sometimes, Sometimes the bet is on how you're out, or which ball you're out with, That's where the gambling is, So
That's where the
nothing is
big money gambling
discounted.
is.
Yeah?
That's where the big money gambling is.
Yeah, the big money is nothing is to be discounted in anything of that sort. Did Donald Trump get charged, guys?
Which time? Which
Yeah,
time?
not gonna ask
Oh,
which
did
time.
you send that for me? I
Well,
saw a story.
from what I gather, he inflated his assets by over $2.2 billion
Yes, that's
and
the
was
story.
able to acquire loans and insurance based on that inflation.
Yeah, and then after claiming bankrupt, he too
Yeah,
wicked.
not 100,000, 2.2 billion.
Yep. They said he
Billion,
committed fraud repeatedly, misrepresenting his wealth by hundreds of millions of dollars. A New York judge has ruled. That's it. The ruling is part of a civil case brought against the former president and his family business. Said he defrauded banks and insurers for years. I'll tell you something, he's not alone in that. He is not alone in that.
I haven't been up to date with former President Trump's latest travails in the court system.
Mm-hmm.
I know when he was arrested or indicted on charges out of Georgia, and before that in New York, I believe, but I'm not so sure about his current charges.
Yeah. Well, they said he overvalued Mar-a-Lago by 2,300% in one financial statement. He overvalued his penthouse Trump Tower in New York by claiming that it was 3 times its actual size. Now, how he get away with things like that? And absurdly argued that calculating the area of the penthouse was subjective, ruling a discrepancy of this order of magnitude. How you get away with that? How you can get away with something like that? So the bank's just as guilty, the real estate agents just as guilty. You understand? Because they would have been the ones who prepared the report and who agreed with it and lent him the money accordingly, not so?
Money, Wendell.
They must get kickbacks.
Yeah, money changes people's perspectives of things, Money.
And he will get away with a lot more.
I guess so,
He would.
It's called white privilege.
Yep. That too.
That's what it is.
Wendell,
Obama tried it.
oh, he would have been crucified.
Obama.
Yeah,
Obama tried it.
Obama was doing that. Wendell, I'm not understanding. Maybe you can help me. What is going on with the Arima General Hospital? Is it open? Is it closed? Is it a wonderful building to watch? I don't know what it is, because people are going into the regular, not the new building, into the old health depot. That's what I call it. And they tell them you have to do an X-ray or whatever it is, and if the machine down there, they send them to Mount Hope rather than just next door.
Oh.
Yeah, so I had a friend who had gotten a referral, went to the nurse, and the doctor told him, no, you have to tell the nurse you want to go next door, else they're going to send you Mount Hope. So said done, you have to get an X-ray. When you go on, the nurse saying, well, you had to refer to Mount Hope. He said, but why would I have to go Mount Hope? The general hospital is right next door. No, it's some particular doctor in the system there has to refer you to otherwise you have to go Mount Hope. So she said you could go and talk to the security guard. You go and talk to the security guard. He say, because a form that you give him, he had to fill out. But the doctor there have to fill it out to refer you to the General Hospital, to next door. Otherwise, you have to go Mount Hope. So you have the security guard. The security guard say, I'll sort it out for you. The security guard goes inside, gets it filled out and signed by the doctor, And he takes that form, goes across to the Arima General Hospital, and it's empty. No
Wow.
members of the public waiting. It's empty. Nurses there. Wonderful service, he says. They told him the machine, it was a portable X-ray machine. They told him the girl was on the 4th floor. She coming down now. She gets the X-ray and he leaves within like 5-10 minutes.
That's
he's like,
crazy.
what is the process? What is the process?
So who is this particular doctor? Was he revealed or he or she revealed?
No. I think the point that he was trying to explain to me was just the process of a lot of the times you get referred to Mount Hope.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the incident, because like one of my older aunts fell down. She got her hip got broken.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, they called the ambulance. The ambulance took like 45 minutes. They called the ambulance after waiting 30 minutes, and this is my family from Canada is down here.
Mm-hmm.
After they called for 30 minutes, no ambulance arrives. They call back the ambulance service. They say they have one ambulance in Arima. How on earth can you only have one ambulance in Arima?
Mm-hmm.
And that ambulance went out wherever the ambulance is coming from Sawan to meet her.
Mm-hmm.
When they finally arrive, much later, of course, all this time she's in pain, they take her to the Arima Health Depot, not the General Hospital. And of course, she's just lying down there waiting. And the nurse there is telling them, I don't think it's broken, you know. Until her son then arrives and says, I am taken, and he takes her to medical associates. Medical associates takes an x-ray, it is broken, and they do the surgery, all of that in that same night.
Wow. Yep.
What?
These stories, these are never
like
ending.
WTF.
Yeah.
You know?
That's another bunch of stories with elderly people that will never end. It will never end as long as we see light on this God forsaken sometimes earth. Those are stories that will never
I would just love to know whether that hospital is open or not. That's what I would love to know. Maybe it's not open. And well, you know, of course, you know, rumors run rampant. Another rumor here is that it's operating like a private hospital for the political elite. That's another rumor here. So that ministers and stuff will go up and because it's not filled,
right?
That they enjoy the service of nobody being around. That's another rumor here. I don't know.
What? Nah, that can't be true. That one can't be true.
That is what I hear when it's operating like it's operating like a private hospital in inverted commas.
Nah, video or picture would have come out by now.
You know, you have to take everything with a pong of salt. So I say, okay.
But look, one of the elites right there on the screen with us. Let me find out from him. He could do a little investigation in that hallowed hall that he sits in.
No, he is elite adjacent.
Oh, he's elite adjacent.
Elite adjacent.
He's trans elite then.
No, he's elite adjacent.
Okay.
That's what he is. You're not like cabinet elite.
Like that. Like that. I know the secret now. Every morning now we're going to talk about negligence of children. I know the secret.
You all ready for the papers?
Hey, he talks.
No, I know I don't actually. I was trying to get them.
I'm not going to the papers for you.
You have to do papers, elite.
It is 14 minutes moving to 7 o'clock. Just before I do that, how would you like to know that the pilot that was supposed to fly you in British Airways was banned because he was found to have gone on a cocaine binge just before the flight he was supposed to take?
What?
Pilot Mike Beaton was sacked by British Airways and banned from flying after cocaine binge before flight. So that man, all your life in his hands.
My God. And let me tell you something, I've flown British Airways quite a bit, right? Once you get like off the ground thing, you literally sail to wherever you're going for the next 9 hours, you know. And to think that it could have had a cocaine infested person flying that airplane. That's scary, Paul.
13 before 7. It's the 27th of September. Let's start with the Express. High Court clears Nairi. Attorney Nairi Alfonso was yesterday cleared by the High Court of any wrongdoing in a civil claim brought against her by the Port Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. We tried to save Damari. The Atlantic takes another life. Somebody drowned. Bloodbath trauma. Girl 3 dies 5 days after falling into a pot of boiling water. Well, some papers say peas, some papers say water.
We know
Food vendor charged with having stolen vehicle. Let's move now to the Guardian online. Girl 3 dies after falling into a boiling pot of peas. Relatives defend mom, says it was an accident. Boy 5 drowns at water park. Drink family lime. 2 charged with murder after brawl outside a Ruka bar. That story that we spoke about some weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. Gunmen shoot at Valencia police post. Senior cop warns against citizens against vigilante justice. Republic appoints group information and digital officer. UNC wants action on crime and budget, but not hopeful. Migrants collect permits. Some leave empty-handed. Let's move now to the Newsday online. Family denies toddler fell into boiling pot. Weeping dad collects national award for hero daughter. Standing ovation for Rachel. Autopsy, Damani died by drowning. Young deportees committed to energy future. NP employees protest at company's headquarters. And Moniland outrage over no outrage at Guanapo killings. Road safety advocate calls for drivers to redo tests. Don't cry for me, Papa, says 3-year-old who died after sustaining burns about her body. So those are trending stories. And Children's Authority issues safety advisory after toddlers' deaths. So those are trending stories in your Express, Guardian, and Newsday for today, Wednesday, the 27th of September, 2023.
All right,
Paul,
thank you, Pablo. Let's get the results of our morning poll from yesterday. All right, so yesterday we asked you, do you think the Trinbago Knight Riders deliberately threw the match against the Guyana Amazon Warriors in the CPL finals? That was our poll yesterday. I'll tell you, give you the results right after I tell you that you can party with Pavi and Burn Team Global present Vision One, a charity cooler cruise happening October 14th, boarding at Lady Hales Avenue at 4 p.m. with sailing at 5 p.m. Party to the sounds of DJ Lovey, Dub Vendor, and Juicy. Tickets are $250 in groups of 10. You pay $2,000. For tickets, you can call Jamaica at 346-8730 or Candice at 271-9655. All right, our poll, do you think the Trinbago Knight Riders deliberately threw the match against the Guyana Amazon Warriors in the CPL finals? The results, 70% said no.
Paul, Richard, guys, I'm suggesting we could talk about the negligence, the possible negligence of parents in the cases of the deaths of the last 2 children, the drowning, and certainly this pot of boiling water. Do you believe, Chair, the parents were negligent in both cases? Yes or no? How do you like that? Or should be held accountable, however you want to put it?
Well, Paul, you did mention that this morning until someone is held accountable. I don't know. Up to you.
So we could poll that this morning.
And your poll is?
Huh?
And your poll is?
Do you believe the parents were negligent in the cases of the deaths of the 2 children, the child that drowned or the child that with the burning one? We could choose one or we could choose both.
No, we could choose both.
Yeah. Right? Do you believe the parents should be held accountable, or do you believe they were negligent? Which, however you want to phrase it. Richard?
The two different questions.
Yeah.
Which one do you want to go with?
I think do you think they were negligent?
All right, let's go with that.
Yeah.
All right, that's our poll this morning, folks. Do you believe the parents in the cases of the deaths of the two recent deaths of children were negligent? Yes or no? And we're speaking here about the drowning of Damari and we don't know how this last child died as yet. But certainly the story is that they fell into a pot of boiling water and subsequently passed away 5 days later, I think, at the hospital. So that's our poll this month.
All right, so 222-8255, toll-free North Americans, 866-525-1099. Send us a message via YouTube. All right. I got some votes already coming in. Alistair Hart says yes to the poll. Good morning, Karen Ipnow. Rena Boudou Jennings says yes. Roland Bahadur says yes. Mo Gaines says yes. Von Drayton. Oh, this is not in the poll. He said he had to go to the Rema Hospital 3 weeks ago, and the people were there from 9 a.m. and haven't seen a doctor at 5 p.m. Absolute nonsense. Absolute. Gregory Bauer says yes to the poll.
Morning, Gregory.
And morning, Gregory.
Morning, Gregory. I don't know who you are, but okay, morning. All right. Shuin Kerr says yes to the poll. Do you think the parents were negligent in the two children's recent death? Yes or no?
Slick Money Grip says yes. Ingrid Adams says yes. Ingrid Lemmerhood says yes. Lorna Kalu Singh says yes.
Morning, Lorna. Morning, Kali. Indy, Wagwan. Ruben is in the house. Let you all know that. He did bathe and brush his teeth and comb his hair. He did. Von Drayton says yes. 222-8255. North Americans, 866-525-1099. All right. Of course, our guest next hour will be former head of NOC, Garvin Hero. All right.
Marcus Guide says yes to the poll. Carl Guevara says yes.
Cynthia Daniel says yes.
These are all votes on our YouTube stream, which is the only place you can vote on this morning if you are not calling in. Alistair Hart
says yes.
But he voted already, didn't he? He
No.
was the first person to vote.
Was he?
Yeah. At 6:53 a.m., he was the first person voting on the poll already. So we have his vote.
Josie Richardson says yes. So 222-TALK, 222-8255. North Americans, 866-525-1099. Those are the numbers you can call. The poll this morning: do you think the parents or guardians were negligent in the two children's recent deaths? That's our poll this morning.
Carl Jack says yes. Hell yes. But we're taking your calls too, folks. You can call in, of course. You know.
Well, I could call in, but there's nobody to answer the phone right now.
Hey, we gone. You run out for one of those regular things, guys?
No, there he is. He's back.
You doing a Maggie?
It's very hard for the virtual background to make Steve disappear.
The computer is not that powerful. Steve has a lot of disappearing to process.
He's actually out of the room and they're still seeing him, you know.
Caller, save me, caller, save me. Good morning.
Good morning, Dudu. Good morning, guys. My answer is yes. And I just want to wish my son Kern happy birthday today. All God's blessing to you from your entire family. Bye.
All right, happy birthday,
Miss
Kun.
Maloney.
Thank you, Miss Maloney.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, do you think the parents or guardians were negligent in the two children's recent deaths? That's our poll. Tell us what you think. Yes or no? Via YouTube, you send us a message, or you could use that thing that you have in your hand all the time. It's called a phone. Oh, I got frightened. It's called a camera.
You know, one of the ways that
Call a
parents and
camera.
guardians are negligent with children and they get away a lot of times, not securing children in a vehicle. You know how many times I see vehicles filled with children standing in between seats and so on?
I could never understand that one, though. Mommy and daddy are basically in the front seat and safe because their seatbelts are on. But they do not think about the children in the back that are moving around. They get hit inside, they get in the back, they have to mash sudden brakes, they are flying.
Yeah.
It just
I see that
boggles
all
my mind.
the time. All the time.
A car's a
Children
double-edged
standing
sword.
between seats.
I could never understand that. When my niece is in the car, their seatbelts are on. Their seatbelts are on because Murphy's Law.
Yep.
What votes we have coming in? Irma Richardson says, yes, Richard, you are right. What am I right about?
I think that's about the hospital situation, I suspect.
You mean the elite?
Yeah. Or elite adjacent. Or trans elite, any one of them, all of them.
Oh, Lord. Loving Prince, no.
Well, that's not just loving Prince.
Pronouns he and him.
Genuine, romantic, passionate, and loving Prince. I wonder if that's it, Snow Cone Man. Larry, that's you? Going by all that long name?
Karen, you've now says stop them and tell them they're doing crap. They want to cuss you.
Sure.
All right. Did you all do all these votes from Irma and so on? Josie Richardson?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then in that case, let's get into our 7 o'clock major news, shall we? Of course, Avi is in on this, the 27th day of September. I'll let you guys know that full moon is on Friday. All right. And it will be a super moon. It will look
What anyway was that?
Let's just leave it as.
Let's just move on. Just move on.
Yeah. This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
Relatives of 3-year-old Shazade Simon, who lost her life after she fell into a pot of boiling lentil peas, are today defending the child's mother. Fun Splash Water Park owner says he's reached out to the family of 5-year-old Damari Jeffrey, who drowned at his facility on Sunday. The Children's Authority urges parents and guardians to put the safety of their children first, and at least 100 killed in blaze at a wedding in Iraq. Details in a moment. This is news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril Cintil Bab. Good morning. Relatives of 3-year-old Shazade Simon, who lost her life after she fell into a pot of boiling peas, are today defending the child's mother. Little Shazade suffered second-degree burns following the mishap. Shazade died at the hospital on Monday, 6 days after the incident, leaving relatives shocked and heartbroken. Shazade was accustomed to going to her mother's vegetable and market shed at Mont Roach Road, Williamsville, or her grandfather's vegetable and market shed. When her mother, Andel Azar, took her to the store last Wednesday, a pot of lentil peas was being cooked on a firecracker on the ground at the back of the shed. In an interview with the media at the stall yesterday, Shazaid's aunt, Marissa Brazan, defended the family, saying the child was not left unsupervised. She said there were several people in the shed, and as soon as it happened, someone picked Shazaid up, wrapped her in a damp towel, and she was taken to hospital. Brazan said they believe her niece accidentally stumbled and fell into the pot. However, other reports quote the child's grandfather saying that he went to wash his hands at the makeshift sink in the stall when he called his daughter, Andel, Shazaid's mother, to pour water on his hands as there was no running water. At no time was the child unsupervised, he said, and there were other people in the stall. But in the blink of an eye, his princess, who may have been following her mother, apparently stumbled onto the pot. He said his back was turned to her, so he did not see what happened, but it appeared she tried to break her fall with her hands, and the boiling peas would have fallen on her back and buttocks from the overturned pot. Investigations into the incident are continuing. Fun Splash Water Park owner Vijay Ramai has revealed that he has reached out to the family of 5-year-old Damari Jeffrey, who drowned at his facility on Sunday. Ramai said he gave his commitment to stay in touch with the family following their period of grief. Damari added that while undergoing treatment, or rather, Damari died while undergoing treatment at the San Fernando General Hospital after someone found him floating in a pool at the Debe facility, having gone there with his mother, Anika George, and other relatives to celebrate his cousin's second birthday. According to reports, an adult saw Damari motionless in the adult pool around 4 p.m. Emergency medical technicians who arrived on the scene attempted to resuscitate him and took him to the hospital, where he was eventually pronounced dead. Ramai said the drowning was the first death in the company's 13-year existence, adding they would now have to enforce new rules on the use of pools at the facility. He said an immediate response will be the enforcement of a new height limit on pools at the facility. Ramai said that he would not cast blame on anyone, as he was treating the incident as an accident. He said it was already a traumatic incident and Fun Splash regretted it happened. An autopsy on the body of Damari Jeffrey was shown the cause of death as asphyxia caused by drowning. The autopsy was done at the mortuary of the San Fernando General Hospital on Tuesday. The Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago is again urging parents and guardians to put the safety of their children first. The call comes as there continues to be incidents in which children have lost their lives. The authority advises activities where children are involved should be conducted under the careful supervision of a trusted adult. The authority notes children who lack proper supervision are more exposed to accidents, harm, and abuse. The opposition claims a woman superintendent of police is investigating members of the United National Congress and projects undertaken by the UNC when they were in power. The UNC is also alleging the officer in question met with 2 senior government ministers in August. Orapuch East MP Dr. Rudal Mudilal made the allegations while speaking at a news briefing held by the UNC at its Charles Street, Port of Spain office on Tuesday.
I am asking the government this morning, since this lady SRP, Superintendent of Police, is investigating opposition members, that is her mandate. I say that without fear or favor. Her mandate is investigating opposition members. And she's demanding now, asking for $5 million more on top of $45 million. So we are told. Did she recently meet with the Attorney General Reginald Amor and Minister of National Security Fitzgerald Hines?
Dr. Munilal said the UNC will inform the British High Commissioner of the development.
And in the coming days, we intend to write the British High Commission on this matter, where citizens of Britain, made police officers in Trinidad and Tobago, are working with politicians in the cabinet to chase after, to persecute opposition politicians. Because we know the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service have already indicated in one way or another that there's not much there to do in terms of several projects of the People's Partnership. The police indicate that.
President Christine Kangulu will formally address members of the Tobago House of Assembly and the Tobago public this week. It will be done on Wednesday at the Assembly Legislature Chamber, Gillingham Street at 9:15 today. The Information Department Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly, says a welcome ceremony will be held in honor of Her Excellency. You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. At least 100 people have died and 150 others have been injured after a fire broke out during a wedding in Iraq's biggest Christian town. Hundreds were celebrating in a banqueting hall in Korakosh in Nivek province when it happened. It is not known what started the fire, but some reports suggest fireworks set it off. Flammable panels fueled the flames, causing parts of the ceiling to catch fire and fall, according to fire officials. The fire led to the collapse of parts of the hall as a result of the use of highly flammable, low-cost building materials that collapse within minutes when fire breaks out, Iraqi's Civil Defense Directorate said, quoted by state news agency INA. It was not immediately clear if the bride and groom were among the victims. Footage posted online showed the couple on the dance floor before flaming chunks began falling onto the dance floor. Finally, here's your weather news for the period today till midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, hot sunny conditions interrupted at times by some light to moderate showers, especially near southern and western coastal areas. There's a low chance to medium that some of these showers will become heavy and or thundery during the afternoon. Nightfall, partly cloudy with near midnight with some light to moderate showers in confined areas. In the vicinity of heavy showers or thunderstorms, expect gusty winds, street and or flash flooding. Look out for a forecast maximum temperature today of 34 degrees Celsius at Piarco International Airport and 33 degrees Celsius at Crown Point, Tobago. Currently, it's 26 degrees Celsius at Piarco and 27 degrees Celsius at Crown Point. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock. Relatives of 3-year-old Shazade Simon, who lost her life after she fell into a pot of boiling lentil peas, are today defending the child's mother. Fun Splash Water Park owner says he's reached out to the family of 5-year-old Amari Jeffrey, who drowned at his facility on Sunday. The Children's Authority urges parents and guardians to put the safety of their children first. And at least 100 killed in a blaze at a wedding party in Iraq. I'm Avril Sintil-Bab. That was news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail at 12 noon today and an update coming your way at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All right. Thank you so much, Avril, for our major news. You can join her again coming up in less than an hour, 8 o'clock for our news brief, and then with Sir Charles at noon today. Yeah, for on the program, Keeping It Real. 10 and a half minutes after the hour, 7 o'clock on this, the 27th day of September. Let's take a look at what's happening on the highways and on the byways. San Fernando, you're lighter than usual. All right. Lighter than usual. Just Golaconda Connector Road to highway to bypass. Well, it's the South Trunk Road. You've got some traffic there. And slow going on Sapero Road as well. All right. Let's head up north, see what's going on there. Rivulet Road is not too bad. No traffic really. Just by Sugar Guanas, you're going to pick up your traffic. You head towards the interchange. Ibis Gardens to Curep. Maloney towards UE, and then Curep to Port of Spain, you've got traffic. All right. Eastern Main Road, not heavy, but at least you're moving. A lot of volume. Going up Lady Young Road, Maraval, Dago, Lower Santa Cruz. Yep. And as well as coming down Lady Young Road, you got some volume there. All right. So that's a quick traffic update for you. Hope it helped you guys out in one way or the other. All right. All right. We got Marcia Rock saying yes. Ronnie saying yes, and Beauty Culture, well, saying yes. So let's get the results of our morning.
All right, this morning we asked, do you think the parents or guardians were negligent in the recent deaths of 2 children? and we had 20 people saying yes and one person saying no. All right, 20 saying yes, one saying no. I guess at another time we could ask the question: do you think they should be held? They should be charged, because that's the extension of the death of people. Sometimes you face charges, So I guess we could ask that maybe at another time. All right. Good morning, Mr. Hira, Commander Hira.
Hi, morning, Wendell. Rich,
Hi, Gavin.
Dr. Richards, Steve. Good morning, everyone.
Morning, sir. How are you
Good
going?
morning, Gavin.
Gavin, are you in the country? I know you were out recently.
Yeah, I'm back
No,
in.
Oh, you're back in.
that background is home. Yeah, the
Is
Marco
it?
properly went there.
Yeah, that background is cool.
When a man put a Trinidad flag, most times by him is because he's somewhere else,
Listen,
Maybe-
Gavin
maybe
is
my
still crying after watching that CPL final.
Maybe my mind is somewhere else. I might be physically Trinidad, but my mind somewhere else.
I don't blame you, Gavin. I really don't. Anyway, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for joining us, Gavin. We asked a poll. I believe it was on Friday. We asked if you could migrate, would you, because of the crime situation? What says you?
Yeah. Yes, the answer is yes. Not only the crime situation, but I think opportunities for Trinidad and Tobago is dwindling, and opportunities for my children. So if I had to migrate, I would migrate mainly for the future of my children and the safety and security of Trinidad and Tobago. That looks very dim unless something drastic happens, and happens like immediately.
Why? Why do you think it's that dim?
Why I think it's
That dim. Why do you seem to have little hope? And correct me if I'm wrong.
So I
in
have
terms of the
hope,
security prospects.
I have hope, but if I'm given an opportunity to migrate for a better future and an opportunity, I would take it. But I think it's dim at this point because we're not seeing enough firm, aggressive action to treat with some of the issues that we are facing. And if we were to think, as we normally would speak, it's not for today. 3-5 years down the road, are we going to see some sort of turnaround? Then someone can make a decision of, I will push back on the migration. But if an opportunity comes to anyone of us to migrate for a better opportunity, be a job offer or the future of your children, you definitely will take it.
I mirror those thoughts, Gavin, and it goes to what your recent comment, because it's been a while since you've been as firm as I heard you last evening in terms of what you think should be done. So give us an idea of what you think should be done to reverse this criminal trend that we have.
But just before he goes there, Wendell, because that's the strategy part, what are your thoughts on the incident like what we saw in the Heights of Guanapo? I mean, we've seen all kind of heinous crime. We're seeing the cocaine washing ashore and the repercussions of that in Grand Riviere and the East Coast. But then we see this Heights of Guanapo where a 10-year-old, two 17-year-olds, 19-year-old, 21-year-old, 25-year-old are shot. 10-year-old dies, 19-year-old dies, 4 of them dead, 5 seriously injured. And the assailants, no information from the police that we've caught them, so we don't know. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. We don't have information to confirm that or even to think about it. And it seems like it's just okay, we move on from that.
Yeah, and I know you're asking me my thoughts, and so let us be human about it. Let us be parental about it. It's alarming. It's horrific that in your country, Trinidad and Tobago, there can be an invasion of a home by an assassin, and he can kill a whole family because that was his intention, or their intentions. What would drive such an order for such an execution? What would be the crime committed, or the hatred, or the vengeance that someone would seek such an action to send such a strong message? Because that message was not sent to the family. That message was sent to an entire country. That message was sent to a parliament. That message was sent to a police service, a defense force, that the criminal is not holding back. The criminal is not going to be what I call passive. The criminal is not going to think twice. He is going to come at you hard and send strong, violent messages that puts a stain on society. that is what needs to be controlled. What would drive such an order? What was committed if we re-roll the tape somewhere in the background to cause someone to have to act like that against a family? So this is where we are. This is what has happened to society. We're seeing the conflicts. We're seeing the clashes. We're seeing the even some aspects of vigilantism is starting to show itself, where citizens are starting to push back. So the society is in a volatile state. You know, we are living on a time bomb.
Gavin, you know, you made a point there that resonated. What would drive someone to do that? And because we've seen a level of hate and anger in Trinidad and Tobago that I think none of us have ever experienced before. So what would drive somebody, and you're right, to wipe out a family, to send a message or put a stain on a country like that? What?
So I am unable at this point to stick my finger to say, well, it would have had to be a former murder that might have been committed. It has to be some sort of gang warfare. But when we look on at what are the moving parts in the background, we have cocaine, X amount of $1 million in the US, and cocaine washing up on the shores of the East Coast. We have $100 million of marijuana from Colombia being intercepted in South. We have a number of issues taking place. We have businessmen being shot, allegedly, instructions coming maybe from the prisons, instructions coming from people who are demanding tax, and not just being shot one single shot or being intercepted, you know, multiple times, 50 wrongs being found on the ground, 20-something wrongs on the body of a human being. So we are seeing where it's a rampant outrage of criminal activity, and they are using high-powered weapons to send their messages. Hardly you're seeing a robbery or a crime scene where you're picking up 9mm shells.
But it's interesting as you said, because you just triggered a thought in my mind. If we put together in a frightening spectre millions of dollars in cocaine washing ashore, gang warfare, meth lab, marijuana, all in this little space, what is it telling you as a security expert? All within weeks of each other. What is it telling you?
It is telling me something that I told the system on numerous platforms before, and in some instances I was ridiculed in corners for it, because I said we have to look at what are the indicators and now verify yes or no whether Trinidad and Tobago is a narco state, whether transnational organized crime also has a hand on the movement of drugs or illegal trafficking through this little space, just as you described it. And when you have that amount of drugs that is detected, you have to ask the what if, or what is the possibility that there may have been movement of drugs, narco, human beings, whatever is the contraband that has gone undetected.
You know what's worrying me, guys? You know what's worrying me? I'm hearing all of this talk about the marijuana, the drugs that washing up, the gang warfare. But when I think our problem is deeper than that, you know, because none of these deaths, recent deaths, have been linked to any of those things. At least as far as we are aware, we don't know. There's a level of hate and envy and anger that is pervading the society. You see it in the comments on social media for just a simple article sometimes that one of the newspaper put out. You watch some of the comments and you know that there are people here that could do those things for a lot less than drugs and criminal and gang warfare.
No, you might be correct, Wendell, but you cannot dismiss the fact that there is such a large movement of illegal activity in the background, and you're seeing a triggering onto society for a violent behavior, whether it's related to the drug trade or not. What we have seen really is a new dynamic of criminal who is not holding back and who has become more violent. This is violent crime. That is the issue here.
But Gavin, yeah, Trinidad for decades has been a violent country. Well, you had a businessman who was abducted in front of his employees. That was Curry, years and years ago, and was beheaded.
Yeah. Yeah, correct.
You've had beheadeds with heads being on tables. people think that Trinidad and Tobago suddenly became violent. We didn't suddenly become violent.
No.
The signs and the violence was there for decades.
And I'm glad you're saying that, Richard. The signs and the violence have been there for decades. And what we have seen is a transition of that violence now, especially with the high-powered weapons, especially at the crime scenes. Before there were assassinations, before there were planned, targeted runs by criminals, you could have seen this was some sort of target criminal activity. What you're seeing now is a brazen disregard for law enforcement in civil streets, and people being pulled out of cars, being shot on the road, and shot of mini-marts on their way to school.
So it's like an escalation. It's an escalation of the disregard for rule and law and order that is years in making. We had a former attorney general who was murdered, Selwyn Richardson.
Correct.
And I remember as a young man, when that murder took place, I was astonished that there was no level of response from the state that I expected, because this person was a former attorney general.
Yeah.
You expected a high level of response from the society and revulsion that a former attorney general had been murdered.
But Richard, more recently, a U.S. prosecutor and highly respected member of the criminal bar, Dana Sita, executed.
Yes.
And you know what?
You've had these incidents that indicate that there is something rotten in the state of Denver.
Yeah. You know what was you know what is the excuse given after Selwyn Richardson death? That the guys who killed him were killed right after. And that was the end of that story.
Yep. But just giving you a historical perspective, because even when Denise Plummer sang Now Leaving, in the lyrics of that song, it references the violence of the country. Yeah? And she's saying, I'm not leaving.
Yeah, but anybody speaking about Trinidad today speaks about the crime. If it's right here in our Caribbean states, or if it's abroad, the first thing people start talking no longer about the wine and jam or the carnival or the food. It's about the crime you all have down there. It's about the murders you all have down there.
Yes.
You used two powerful words there, Richard, and escalation and response. Yes, we've seen an escalation, and no, we're not seeing any sort of response. And which brings us around to the conversation that we are having this morning.
Are we seeing no response, or are we seeing an ineffective response?
I think we're seeing an ineffective response. And I'm guarded by saying ineffective, that we're totally ineffective, not working. I think we're not seeing response in totality. We're not seeing a response with a sort of movement, a mobilization, an assembling of a different strategy to treat with it. Because if we lamented about it this morning, the shooting in Guanapo took place, and in 2-3 days, the thing died down and went towards probably a CPL final or something else. And we've lost that aspect of it. And violence takes place, heinous murders takes place. But even us as a society, we move on to, Project 1, Project 2, that type of stuff.
Because this is not the only family that was eliminated like that. Dolce hung for that.
Correct. And many families are facing that sort of situation. Look at the two businessmen that were shot. And recently we've been having a number of murders and home invasions, missing people. But it seems like it has gotten so ingrained in us, it has overpowered us, clouded us to an extent where we move on. Nobody's alarmed anymore. We are hurt, and our emotions flare. And then we're almost getting immune now to the killings. And that is a sad place.
I hear you, Gavin. I don't think people are not alarmed anymore, I think people are almost frustrated into silence.
Correct. I think that's a good
guys, you know what's worrying me? You heard no outcry agreed in Guanapo, right? We don't know. But the people in the area must know. They must know. My problem is that in a lot of these killings, and especially in some of the killings where just so you hear a businessman shot and killed, 15 bullets he get, what is the reason? What is he involved in? What did he do? For in some cases, in my opinion, my mind is run to he may have been unfaithful to somebody, or he might have done a bad business deal with somebody. Nothing to do with drugs, or nothing to do with any criminal. It may just be those things that I am afraid that society has gotten to such a stage that they're killing for it. Because we kill a man for a pen already in tongue, you know.
Yeah.
You understand? We have had these incidents where seemingly nothing ends in murder, you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
That's what's worrying.
The end state at this point is to kill somebody, be it a land issue amongst relatives, which we have seen, a conflict, just as you say, a broken relationships or alignment. That's a big one. Are some of these business people who we are seeing now victims of crime and robberies and threat and tax and all that would have aligned themselves with criminal, call criminal elements. And participated in certain type of things, and now you're trying to pull yourself out or walk away, and the thing is haunting you because that don't leave you. So those are some concerns, and it brings us right back to our societal norm. Why are we involving and engaging in that type of activity rather than trying to walk the straight and narrow? And because of that, it is reflecting now on the state on society, and we are left to respond, we are left to investigate or to arrest, but some of these issues, it seems like the criminal is comfortable that he's not going to be arrested. The criminal,
Gavin, a man was murdered the other day, A man was murdered the other day in the middle of the day in a car park in Trinity Mall allegedly because of his views. How he critique people and cuss and he was murdered because of that,
Of course.
That's where we reach here,
And what about the businesswoman who's driving out of her car park in South? That issue, and then she was intercepted
because of some family jealousy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what people are being killed for now.
The pettiness. I know about two young men in Arima that would have crossed a border, quote unquote, and they got killed and they were shot. And word out is that who gave the instructions or whatever, but nothing has moved in a direction of arrest or intercept.
So where does all of this leave Trinidad and Tobago at this point, Gavin, in terms of how can we solve this problem? And I know we've had these discussions ad nauseum over the years, and it almost seems like we're spinning top in mud. But what do we do? Where does the society go? Will something come out in the budget that is going to address it in a different direction? Or you just think it's more of the same? What needs to change this trajectory that is upsetting Trinidadians and Tobagonians here and the diaspora?
Yeah, I think you're quite correct. A lot of eyes are going to be focused on the budget. It's a good place to bring something forward. What we have not been hearing, especially with presentations of the budget, is new thing. We haven't been hearing a new thing, and especially for national security. It has been the recurrings and the payments and some of the existing projects that didn't start or were stopped unnecessarily. So hopefully we'll hear something new. But I'm hoping that the retreat recently, for instance, amongst all ministries, the center of the discussion should have been, and hopefully would have been crime reduction. A lot of the issues going forward, we are 18 months into an election, or maybe 2 years, people like to say. But what are going to be the concerns that is the burning issue? What are the front burners concerning crime reduction? Because that is what is sinking the country. That is the issue. I asked a question rhetorically recently. What causes you to shiver? And it is issues like the Guanapo thing, being robbed, seeing a businessman pick up 15 shots, or the threats that are coming, the home invasion, that causes you to shiver. You're scared. Another thing that causes you to shiver is if I say today, right now, you have to face an accident and emergency in one of our public hospitals, you have to go to casualty, as we like to say in country. That causes you to shiver because you're studying, oh my God, I can't face a casualty. This is a long whole day. I don't know if I get to see a doctor. The situation is it's a lot. Old people falling asleep on chairs. A casualty department right now, accident emergency. Every single public hospital right now is having a serious problem in how we are treating with accident and emergency. And therefore, a lot of citizens are scared. They're shivering to have to even face a hospital situation. So I think those are two burning issues that needs to be looked at. But back to Richard's question, it's not going to be an overnight fix, but we have to see a certain level of what I'll call striking back, acting firmly and aggressively by our law enforcement. I'm not seeing that. We're not hearing that. It seems as though we are giving or accommodating a narrative that the gangster is in charge. It is almost as if we have allowed and accepted the fact that the killings and those who giving the gang leaders and giving the instructions, it seems like we are responding always to their action. We need to take it to them, and it's simple, and that is a mindset and a will and a direction and an execution and a leadership trait that we need to see.
So now, Gavin, the last message from someone, Trinidad Mago, said, Trinidad is a narco state. Face it. All this talk and deflection, the big issues, drugs and guns rule. Nobody has the political will to address it. Is it that we have accepted that we are a narco state, and once you're not involved in the drugs or gun running trade, you're all right? But
let me add to that. The general definition of a narco state is a political or economic term applied to countries where all or most legitimate institutions have become penetrated by the power and wealth of the illegal drug trade. It's a generalized statement. So have we become a narco state?
Right. So have we accepted that's what we are?
Right. So let us just tweak, and it's not semantics, let's just tweak narco state to transnational organized crime. And we reflect now from the mirror of what we're seeing before us, whether transnational organized crime has moved its tentacles into decision-making offices, has moved its tentacles into key state agencies where they have control and they can facilitate documentation and payment and movement and money and staff and that type of stuff. Are they masking normal business operations, but behind the scenes, crime or criminality, organized crime is taking place? That is where transnational organized crime controls a narco operation. So those are the concerns that we have. Back to your question, Wendell, are we accepting that? And we throw back the question, is it that we have just given up and accepted the fact that, you know what, killings are in control, I'm just going to protect myself and move, I'm not going to go here, not going to... We have citizens, business people who have cramped their social recreations. They are not going out. I'm not going for dinner anymore. If I'm going for dinner, it's a daylight thing. I'm not doing any night things.
Yeah, but to be fair, what you're talking about there is the symptoms of the issue. The violence on the street has a source. It has a genesis. It has a driver. And in some countries, the drug runners and illicit drug or cartels infiltrate the state through the judiciary, the government, etc. In some, they infiltrate the business community, which is driving commerce in the country, which is underwritten by the drug money. In some countries, it's both. You understand? Has an analysis, but are we brave enough in this country to do an analysis, a real analysis of how much that is happening, if it is happening? Because Mr. Manning spoke about Mr. Big years ago, the late Mr. Manning, you know. And there are people who have spoken about, a former Minister of Finance told me 15 years ago that in his opinion, over 40% of this country's economy was underwritten by drug money. He never said it publicly, and he's highly respected. And he would know because he's seen the numbers on the side where even if oil prices go down, we're still importing 300 to 3,000 cars a year. You understand?
Yep.
Even the country is making X amount of money in terms of revenue, the imports are not shifting commensurate to that. So you have to ask yourself, is the money coming from savings to drive that or coming from somewhere else?
Exactly. And I know you stopped me when I was speaking about the symptoms, that I had to draw the emphasis on the socioeconomic impact that it is having on the citizens regarding how we now have to change our lifestyle because society has changed on us. And when you look at the reflection of the economy in a time where we are facing now on Monday, where we're probably going to have to tighten our belt, more taxes might come here, more taxes might go there, we're going to hold it down and cramp it in. You will still see certain institutions, no names called, boasting in the public print of mass profit, of millions of dollars of profits. And then you would like to ask, what is the balance? Where is that cost-benefit analysis that was done to institutionalize in your thinking now, how come we have a profit here, but we're feeling the pain on the shelves for the small man? And therefore, that is where we have to do, and I agree with you, Paul, that sort of thorough analysis. So as what are the indicators, detections? We do a driving diagnostic so that we can confirm now what are the findings. Because
and then do what?
I don't feel we're brave enough in this country. I don't feel we're brave enough in this country to identify the real big players in the drug game. I don't feel brave enough. Not brave
Didn't we
enough.
do it before, Paul and Gavin and Richard? Didn't we do it with the Scotland Yard drug report? Didn't we made attempts to do
And
things
what
like
came
that?
out? And what came out of that?
Exactly.
Well, maybe we need something similar redone for this time, this period by new experts probably.
So do we feel that the persons or the institutions identified in the Scott drug report of what, 40 years ago, 30 years ago?
About 40.
They just went away after that? Or did they multiply, proliferate, intensify? Did more players come into the scene? Because, well, if they didn't touch them, there's a great place to be to run that kind of business.
Some of them got promoted, some of them expanded their business, some of them are now conglomerates. I don't know.
We ain't brave enough in this country. We're not brave enough.
I am always saying, if we are brave enough to demand another sort of analysis, investigative report, we have to, even before that, have the courage to implement the recommendations, implement the changes, because we can't go on like this, Trinidad and Tobago. We cannot go on getting up in a morning and having to face the crime and criminality that has dominated society and our living and our neighborhoods and our communities. There has to be a firm sort of action. And this is why I would have said it starts with who's expected to be the gatekeepers. There needs to be a narrative and a voice that is striking a fear and a threat to the gangster or to the criminal, and they're not getting that. These guys are comfortable that, we are not going to be investigated.
But you said it earlier on. You said an assailant or assailants who very easily plan an execution of a family, including children, carry out this heinous act. 10-year-old dead, everybody shut up, not caring who did it or will continue to, because they don't feel that they're going to be caught or brought to justice. They don't have respect for the system anymore.
Yeah, and
there's also another part of it that they don't really care if they're dead either, because the different culture and mindset for some people.
That lack of respect should be able to not allow them to commit the crime and get held. It should be a deterrent to even thinking about committing the crime because of the consequences that you will face. There are some countries you could forget your phone on a table and go back 24 hours and meet the phone right there on the table. Nobody's going to touch it because they know that there's a certain action that will take place and there's a certain enforcement with regard to law and order. And therefore, people are not necessarily scared in their wits, but they respect and they have the discipline. Here, we have lost respect. We don't have the discipline. And that is why you mentioned it. The budget should have been, and hopefully would have been, a strategic reflection of some of the immediate changes and expenses that we're going to endure, because we can have a next conversation, guys, because I know we're passionate about it, the education system.
Let me ask a question. If the budget government policies through the budget allocations supposed to solve it, what happened last year? Year before?
And the year before.
Before that? 5 years ago? 10 years ago? 13 years ago? What happened?
Exactly. Nobody thought about it. Nobody implemented it. And that's why I'm saying...
they thought about it and implemented it, but either the plan was ineffective or the implementation was ineffective or both were ineffective.
There's the ineffectiveness, Pablo, and I'm going to take you back to class, is the theory of the triumphs that I would have created and thought. And we knew that. We discussed it. The theory of the triumphs, nobody measured, nobody managed, nobody monitored, and nobody was held accountable. And therefore, if money is going to be allocated, you've identified your projects, we're giving you a timeline, and you're going to be held accountable. You'll be measured, managed, and monitored over that timeline to accomplish those projects, and you are going to be held accountable. It's project governance. And hopefully, we are going to start hearing that coming out at the public leader's office. But more importantly, The TTPS, for instance, they're going to have to be held accountable. Guys, you're going to have timelines to deliver, and we're going to push you hard. And therefore, the voice has to be one that demands and commands an authority that triggers all down to the gang leader on the block, that he now realizes they mean business and they're going to come at us. And therefore, it allows you now to start pulling back and to stop some of your actions, because you know that they are coming at us. And I'm not hearing that. And that is
Gavin, you know, it's only because I have so much respect for you that I ain't stoops. Because because it is tiring. It is tiring. And anytime I hear the word TTPS now, it's like a bad word in my head.
Oh, you're not stooping at me. You're just stooping at the word. Sorry.
No, I ain't stooping at you, you know. I ain't stooping at you. I'm listening to you, and I told you back then. I said, why you didn't apply for commissioner of police too, you know. I told you back then, you know.
I did not have a tie. I didn't have a tie. I was looking for the tie. I didn't find the tie, and I ran late.
I don't think he holds all the let me not say that. Let me not say that.
Probably,
you know, the issue with the TTPS and whether or not they are operating effectively, unfortunately to me, like other arms of the criminal justice system, has become mired in politics, as almost everything else in the country. So whether or not the police services and leader is acting effectively or ineffectively, it gets caught in the political dilemma of the country. So if the police commissioner is acting effectively, it is caught in, well, they should do this and they should do that. If the police commissioner and police service is not acting effectively, there's an automatic knee-jerk reaction or defense based on who appointed or who didn't appoint.
Yeah, well,
you understand? So the measurement you're talking about is not empirical as it should be, or the analysis of the data is not as empirical as it should be, because it's mired in subjective interpretation based on what side of the political fence you lie.
No, I agree.
Well, maybe the debate should restart on whether we should go again with a foreign commissioner. Maybe it's time to restart that debate.
But you see, be it a foreign commissioner, be it a local commissioner, be it a CARICOM commissioner, foreign meaning external, international, CARICOM mean regional. The thing about it is your ability to understand the theater of operation that is facing you, and you approach the task of leading that system in short, medium, and long term, and communicate that to the citizens who are your employers, who are the ones that are going to be measuring your performance. Now, mind you, it is not the entire police service, and I'm not saying the police service is ineffective. I'm saying at this time, there needs to be some stabilizing with regard to what is the threat that is facing the country. You know,
Gavin, stick up in there. We know it's not the entire police service, you know. We know that, you know.
Yeah,
but as I continue to say,
we should never be quoted to say one or two are saying the police service is ineffective. It's not that.
But here was my problem. Here was my problem, Gavin, and I've said this before. The good police officers are sitting by doing nothing about the bad ones. That's the problem. They are doing nothing. They are afraid to get caught up. They are afraid to get threatened. They are afraid of what the circumstances of these bad ones. That is what, in my opinion, is happening.
One would wonder whether there is a certain core element within the system that has control, let's call it bad element, road cups or whatever, that has control of a number of the decisions or what is taking place or not taking place. And therefore, those are some of the aggressive addressing that needs to take place. But more importantly, people, there needs to be a rise up, for instance, of an approach that can strike fear into the hearts of the criminal. And that has to be literally a voice that is going to give a certain sort of command, and a certain action follows that command. That takes a certain amount of leadership will. It takes a sort of ability to stand up. It doesn't have to be the commissioner who's sitting behind the seat and running and administering. She could probably identify a key system that can do that. Or maybe we have arrived at a point in country where we need to have a parallel system coming up alongside the police service to do a certain type of job.
But Gavin and
Dr.
guys,
Rowley raised that recently.
but you're saying that. But every of the last 4 or 5 administrations, having recognized some level of corruption of the police service, has formed a particular unit to deal with that. Whether you call it SORT, whatever it is, SAUTT, they've recognized that there's a level of corruption in the police service that they could not effectively deal with, and had put together some, I don't want to say elite group, but some separate agency within the service to try to circumnavigate that.
Yeah.
Every administration of the last 4 or 5. But that tells you a lot. It tells you that the executive realized, that the police service and of the state realized that that corruption issue is so detrimental to operations at a particular level that they had to isolate a particular group of people to carry out certain functions. Am I wrong?
Yeah, you're not fully wrong. No, you're fully right. I don't agree with you that these units were formed up to deal because we had corrupted police services. They were formed up to recognize that there was a certain requirement for tactical operations, law enforcement tactical operations within the police service, within what is known as, I said, the theater. What I'm saying is that the police.
So why they couldn't come from the rank and file at the time?
It couldn't come from the rank and file because at that point they needed to have a certain sort of drive and a dedication and what we will call a tactical ability. Now, I'm not down speaking the existing police service. They have their roles, their responsibilities, but because of the threat in society, I am saying we have corruption, we have transnational organized crime, we have narco, as we've been talking about, we have rogue officers, not only the police service, prisons, we have customs, we have the defense force. There needs to be a focus now that maybe something else has to be formed up alongside the police service that has the authority, that has the autonomy, that has probably the governing act to carry out certain investigations and not have to, just as Paul rightfully said, circumvent right back to the same prosecutorial process that is caught within the desk and files of the police service. It has to be separate and apart, and I think that is what is needed. We are a small country. It's just 1.5 million, but I am saying sometimes we need to look at out-of-the-box initiatives innovatively for law enforcement. And
isn't that what the Prime Minister recently suggested?
Yes,
in terms of that special unit?
Yeah.
That was to investigate all of the corruption across all agencies. That's what he talked about.
Where's the implementation of the suggestion? Where's the rollout?
In the budget.
Maybe it's coming in the budget. Let me ask you a question, Gavin. Because it's a question
I assume it's in the budget. Because there's no more powerful person than the Prime Minister, and he says that's what he wants.
Can police officers carry out an unannounced raid on the port, customs and excise?
Yes and no. I think they will have to speak to customs in order to get to certain areas, and that term unannounced. I think it's because of the jurisdiction, and I stand to be corrected here, guys, because I think Richard, you might know more, but there may be some legislative barriers that will have to be jumped.
And that's why I asked the question, because my understanding is no.
Yeah.
Even if they feel there's an issue that warrants law enforcement, police intervention, they cannot go into customs without the authorization of the controller of customs or some senior person.
I was being diplomatic and as protective as possible, and hence the reason why you have to have something with the hammer drop that can do something like that without having to be answerable to who's guarding the guards is really the question. And therefore, we have to see unannounced operations. We have to see surgical hits. We have to see strategic sort of tactical operations being held now and bringing these things down to some sort of control. And you are correct. The systems and bureaucracy has put pillars and protections and perimeters that is avoiding certain types of operations to take place. Hence, we find certain things are just allowed to continue in country.
Because customs ain't making no raid on customs. So who gonna make the raid?
Well, customs makes raids on customs, but customs knows the raid is being made.
I think it'd be nice for you all to, I think I will encourage maybe to have a customs official, senior official on the show and ask them some key questions as to what are some of the challenges that they are facing administratively and operationally. And
as you're saying that, I've never known the head of customs to do an interview on any station.
No, have you seen any customs officers being brought before the court? If you have, I've lost track of that. I didn't really hear or see investigated to start with.
No.
Because when I had tried, all the books I had tried to get somebody from customs to come and talk, and they said, no, we're not talking. They're not coming on.
No, they don't talk. They don't talk.
They're coming on.
No, they don't. But getting back to the budget, obviously coming out of that cabinet retreat, what could the cabinet retreat have talked about? Crime has to be beyond the economy is important because the economy drives your ability to fight crime. So your economic strength is directly related to your capacity to roll out certain initiatives. So I suppose the economy would have been discussed and whatever the measures are that the state is planning in terms at a cabinet level in terms of certain projects. But crime has to be an issue.
But they go hand in hand. Whether it was focused on the budget, which is the economy, as people like to think, the dollars and cents, but crime is affecting dollars and cents. Crime is affecting life on the ground. So therefore, crime reduction, and I agree, would have had to be the center of the conversation. And if we were to, I was asked a similar question, and I suggested that they adopt a thematic approach. What is the theme of the cabinet? And introduce a theme that addresses crime reduction and the economy and turning this thing around. And I went further to say, because we had everyone in the room, there should be an interministerial approach to crime reduction. So it's not just what has been given to national security and what our Minister Hines plans to reduce crime with Defense Force and police and everyone else, but how each ministry is going to adjust or add a clause in their strategy towards crime reduction. So you have a holistic approach. So be it tourism, be it social development, energy, sports, you name it. They are also focusing on crime reduction through the portals of their ministry. So I see that should have been a priority in the replanning because there was enough time between retreat and budget to amend your strategy to address a crime reduction initiative so as to support some of the key elements of national security.
I agree with Richard. I agree with Richard because at the end of the day, I don't think the retreat was to apprise the wider cabinet about what the already decided upon strategy is, because there's a core and then there's everybody else, and the issue of budgetary allocations and its impact on crime is going to be the most profound thing in this budget. Has to be, because if you look at a local government election was just executed in Trinidad and Tobago, and for the first time, the most critical commentary or conversation in a local government election was crime.
Yeah. That was
and as you indicated, there are about 18 months, you're approximately a little over 18 months out of a general election. And politics, of course, informs actions of politicians. And crime is an issue for which you could lose an election.
Yeah.
National security is bigger than that. It's not only crime with the break-ins and the murders and the shooting and the guns. It is national security. And when a country cannot exhibit that we are a secured country, foreign investment on the ground, progress and sustainable development will not take place because you are not secured. And I think that is the bigger picture that we need to look at as we dovetail it into the economy and dovetail it into geopolitical issues. What is the viewpoint of the international investor towards Trinidad and Tobago as opposed to Antigua or to Guyana or to St. Martin or something? Am I going to put my money there or am I going to put my money somewhere else? National security is the cornerstone for sustainable development and investment in any country. Gavin,
there's a new dynamic now, of course, with the opposition putting together some points that they want discussed in this new crime the crime talks that they are about to have. I think is post-budget. One of that, and I think it came across the news last night, is of course on the number one on the list is the stand your ground legislation. How do you view the talks of the opposition and the government bearing any fruit in this particular scenario that we have?
I am concerned that it will be talks and good photo ops and appear to be mileage that one side will use on a platform and the next side will use on a platform that they were collaborative or whatever. The citizens are remain with bated breath, biting their nails, hoping to hear or to see something come out of that can be implemented. I heard somewhere that it was a voluminous proposal and they're going to pick the low-hanging fruit or what can be worked or applicable or culturally relevant and see how they can do it. I'm applauding that. Okay, the opposition and the government are in talks. That's very good. So we have put aside the mudslinging. We've put aside that. And we're in the room and we're talking. When that happens on a daily basis in the two room. And
they've put aside the mudslinging, they have?
But what I'm saying here, I think we need to look at something different. I am always, let's go for something different. Let the government and the opposition direct, dictate, command, authorize a sort of talk just like that, a think tank group session where experts from the country can be handpicked and pulled out and asked to come up with some working strategies that can support country. So it doesn't have to be a t-shirt wearing, flag waving sort of governmental political thing. It can be a subject matter expert driven thing where they have authorized a pullback and let the chefs cook the meal and put subject matter experts in the room, come up with some strategizing, be it how we deal with transnational organization, violence in the schools, gang warfare, narco, some key pillars, and have the discussions over a 2-day period to come up with some ideas and some implementations that can roll out. So push back the government, push back the politicians. We've heard enough of you guys. Bring the subject matter experts who have the experience. Import some people, Trinidadians out there who have the international exposure, and let them roll their sleeves up and come up with some of the ideas that can help country, that can be implemented by the government, supported by the opposition. That's what I say.
That's a great theory.
I don't know how far that will go, to be quite honest.
That is a great theory.
That just sounds like more pictures.
In a maximum power environment, that is not going to happen. Politicians are not going to pull back and let any subject matter experts take over and just implement when they can't take credit for it, unfortunately. Anyway, Gavin, we're out of time. Thank you for being with us as usual.
Team 102, it's been a pleasure. God bless, and we're still happy with curry chicken.
I think I'm gonna have a hot chop mini beef with Chana today, just for that.
Curry beef, not beef curry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gavin, here for being with us.
Thanks, Gavin.
All the best to you.
God bless.
All right.
Have a great day. I'll be safe.
Yep, folks, have a wonderful day. Remember to let go and let God. Don't forget, Liberal season is in full flight. You understand? We're going to October season just now, so it's even more special.
Okay. All right, of course, Mixed Up is on tonight again. So the 3rd episode as we head towards the 5-episode finale on Friday. Nikki, 50-ish and Hot AF is on at Queen's Hall this weekend. Saturday at 8:30, Sunday at 6:30. Of course, the tickets are available at the Queen's Hall box office. And I know tickets are selling fast. You should get your tickets early because I know droves of people have gotten their tickets since last week. So, and trust me, it is going to be hilarious. That's tickets are available at Queen's Hall from 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily. Tickets go out today from 12 noon at all our usual outlets in San Fernando. For the play Bacchanal Bubble on Bad Behavior, which starts next week, Saturday and Sunday at Naparima Bowl. So tickets go out today for sale at K-Squared Fashions in C3 Center and Gulf City. Brentwood Mall, of course, Creme Fraiche. Creme Fraiche is selling both Nikki Show and Bacchanal Bubble and Bad Behavior. So it's a one-stop shop in a kind of way. And of course, Friends of Marabella, by the roundabout, even though I know they're doing some work at that roundabout branch. But that's where you can get tickets for the show for next weekend, Bacchanal, Bubble, and Bad Behavior. Those are 2 shows you should not miss. Of course, reminding you, Mixed Up, the 3rd episode airs tonight at 8 p.m. on TTT. And of course, you can stream it. You can check the stream on the TTT website, I guess. Have a fantastic day, whatever you do. And remember to smile and laugh. It's great for your health.